Unleash the power. Unleash the power.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ruckus Room. I'm here today with Will from Will's World, Miss Rachel, and the lovely Alan who's behind the desk. And I just wanted to open today's show with Nancy Grace. Have you guys seen her Tootsie Roll comment about P. Diddy and what's going on?
I am blissfully ignorant.
Okay.
Educate me.
First of all, Nancy Grace is the OG of true crime. I don't know who else or anybody else that comes even close to her, and the way that she annihilates people on air is just hilarious. But the P. Diddy trial is going on. And in one of the comments, one of the people that are testifying said that Diddy had a lack of length and growth, compared it to a Tootsie Roll. Instead it was exactly.
This is not where I thought this was going.
And it's so funny because Nancy Grace played that clip, and then she comes back and said, "There's no coming back from that. It was announced in court. Everybody heard it." And some guy wanted to argue with her in her show, and she says, "Do you think a prosecutor is really going to not be able to prove that he is itty bitty tiny little Diddy?" Because you could prove it, right, Alan? I mean, if you have to prove it, you could prove that, right?
I mean, well,
there are ways.
I know.
I'm glad it's
but
not
just
my
the
job.
fact that she takes a mini Tootsie Roll on the next day's show and starts saying, "I've been thinking about candy," and she starts eating the candy, and I'm like, whoa. I'm dying inside internally, and I wanted to know your guys' thoughts about it because it is kind of a big story right now.
I did not expect that. Wow.
You know what? I should have brought the Tootsie Rolls, Will.
I know you would have picked that one. I know, yeah. You would have picked that one.
If you're lacking length and girth, you can only assume it's something and call him itty bitty Diddy. You
His
can
fingers,
only
right?
I'm, hey,
No.
He's got to be like what? How tall is and how large is? Because P.
I
Diddy's
don't
not
know.
a big guy,
I don't even
man.
look at P. Diddy like that. After all this came out with, I can't even look at baby lotion the same anymore.
Baby oil. Oh no.
Baby oil.
That's just no.
With the things he did are disgusting.
You know, I wish I would have invested in Johnson & Johnson. Rolled up in a Ferrari or something.
Alan, what are your thoughts on the Tootsie Roll?
That much.
I hadn't heard the comments, so.
You don't watch Nancy Grace. That's right. I forgot you don't watch TV.
Oh, it's all over YouTube.
It's
everywhere.
all over the place right now.
News and everything.
I don't have time to do anything right now except for sit here and edit videos, which I'm okay with.
Okay.
But yeah, I should have brought in a bowl of Tootsie Rolls in honor of today's festivities.
No.
And no?
No. But one thing does come to mind. One word: overcompensation.
Oh, yes. And that's a big word.
But question, though. Okay, he's, what, is he a billionaire? He's a billionaire.
Who cares?
No. If he was
for a little while longer.
Okay, if he was a good guy or something like that, wouldn't either one of you talk to him?
No, I'm just surprised that he's as small as she said he was because I didn't think that of him.
But I'm saying if he was a billionaire.
I would still say no.
We could have a conversation.
It's real about it, you know? I mean, come on. I mean,
What would
She's
that
more
hurt?
diplomatic about it than I am, but I mean, you can have a conversation.
Not knowing what I know now.
You know they have stuff to make up for the compensation of that. So I mean, hey,
in Florida, it's the size of your truck.
And he obviously knows what to do to, have a great party. So it's just crazy. I think. Do y'all think that a lot of people are going to start going down once all of this stuff comes out even more, like more celebrities and stuff?
Well, wait a minute. He's 5'10". I'm sorry to interrupt that.
Oh, he's 5'10"?
Yeah, so that has no correlation. I guess. So I don't know. It's
No.
just weird.
It doesn't have to do with how
Small
tall you are
feet.
anymore.
It's not like he's like 5'2" or something.
I really think other celebrities are going to start getting in trouble after this.
Have you
Because
seen-
everybody partied with him.
Yeah, I know.
They had everyone. They had like a. Let me see. They had politicians. They had famous actors. Yeah. Okay. First of all, there was J-Lo. You remember the shooting in the club?
Yep.
Okay. And she hid
They
the
were
gun.
together for a while.
Oh yeah, she hid the gun and everything, and she's just kind of quiet. And Ellen's gangster. You know.
Well, she's out of the country now.
Yeah. Well, she's like, I'm out of
She
here.
can come back if they need her to.
Well,
Extradition?
Exactly.
Well,
She went to, like,
it
Ireland,
depends
or-
on-
I don't know if she can get
She went
extradited.
to London or something.
Yeah, she went to London or Ireland. I don't know about extradition.
There is an extradition treaty
I don't
with
think
the
you're.
UK.
She's gonna be.
How
all right.
coincidental is this? I'm just saying. that
Whoa.
she would leave when
Oh,
all
well,
this is going
they
down?
all blame it on Trump. You know,
Oh, yeah,
Trump gets
sure.
elected, we're leaving the country.
Yeah.
Oh,
And now they're
they
actually
Trump
going.
and
Alan,
Obama
we're
was
putting
there.
two and two together here. I'm just
Well, that's what
saying.
they said. No, they said Donald Trump and Barack Obama were at, were hanging out with P. Diddy too.
Oh my God.
Everyone was hanging out with him. I mean, so you can't say,
That's how they get you. You know, when you get enough
No.
power, like Epstein. Same
Okay.
thing with Epstein.
Okay.
Oh.
but-
Epstein didn't commit suicide.
Oh no.
No, he didn't.
See,
Well,
No, everybody knows that.
He killed himself.
Cash says yes.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
I know, that's right, yeah.
Well, Cash is yes, but I don't know if I believe that all the way yet.
Isn't that funny how they get into power and then they become the power, and then all of the ire against the power is now targeted on them? Like, they have a very small grace period.
No. Well, I just wanted to
Tootsie Roll
open the
Small?
show with that because Tootsie Roll Small, Tootsie Roll Small, itty bitty ditty small.
And now,
I just wanted to break the ice and open the show with that, but I wanted to get into a few days ago, 2 Chinese nationalists were charged with smuggling fungus or pathogens for potential attacks on agriculture. This
the
fungus
among us.
This fungus among us, exactly. If it attacked the agriculture, would have hit wheat, barley, and rice. And if humans consumed it, could cause liver damage, birth defects, and other problems. It was found in his luggage. What are your guys' takes on that? Because, yeah. It's
I
a
didn't
lot.
know the TSA could find anything. Or this was customs, right? Customs.
Any type of
A
produce,
bacteria or fungus.
Any
These
type
are
of
the
produce.
assholes who came out the China virus, remember?
Like, do they have a fungus sniffing dog? Like, how do they catch him?
No, they actually have produce.
thought it was in a
animals
petri
that
dish.
Sniff out, produce, different types of things. You can't just come in and bring, let's say, fish or
Yeah, right.
agriculture, horticulture, so anything like that. You can't
Come
bring
back from a cruise, you just declare it.
Why ain't
Well,
nobody
you can't
watching these
bring,
people though? These guys must have had a screw unloose or unhinged a little bit. Like, why isn't anyone watching him further?
Well,
I mean, who just gets a virus or a petri dish full of stuff, loads it into a luggage, and says, "I'm going to the U.S."
Well, let's say
today."
if you disguise something as, let's say, you bring in a bunch of peaches into the United States, and you're saying, "Oh, well, I was out in, I don't know, middle of nowhere, China, and you were visiting family members," and they say, "Oh, yeah, I get this from my
we're
grandmother's."
talking about a pathogen. It's I don't know, like it is
Not like
Really?
a seed.
It's not like an orange.
Well, no, but you have to use something to transport the
Yeah, his
pathogen.
luggage.
No, he didn't just put it inside.
In a
That's what
Ziploc
they said.
baggie.
They said he put it in his luggage in between the underwear, and this is what this guy's doing.
Okay, so I mean, there has to be something other than he just had it
Alan,
in his
your
underwear.
takes.
He had it in his underwear.
Well, yeah, his clothes and his luggage and his.
I'm
and
thinking
That's
jock
missing.
itch.
His,
Yeah. I'm like,
next to the jock itch cream.
He's going.
What do you think, Alan?
I think he should be put to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
I do.
Yeah,
I think
Because
he should be put to
that
death.
is what do you call it? A crime against the United States is treason, right?
Yeah,
well,
it's
not
tre-
treason.
well,
That's
yeah,
not tre-
that's
no.
not treason.
That's the
'cause
kind
it's
of
not-
thing they
because
do
it's
in
not a-
Singapore.
because
You
it's
bring
an
in
act.
something that
Off
they
your head.
don't want in Singapore. Yeah, they'll
Off your
cane you if you're lucky. And
Yeah,
That's true.
no, he should be
That's
put to
true.
death.
Yeah, he
he
should.
came in to destroy crops in the United States and kill
And kill
Americans.
Americans, right?
He's done.
by starvation.
Yeah.
But they need to
I
question
assume.
him first. in
The
other
interesting
ways.
thing is we supply a lot of Chinese food from here, so maybe
Chicken
we should
paws.
maybe we should just send a whole bunch of it over to
Chicken
them.
paws for sure.
But
Ew.
no, he should be killed.
And also,
Or
there are a
they.
lot of Chinese, let's say, nationals that can buy or have own or they own actually property here in the United States, farmland at that.
Farmland. Yeah,
A lot of
that makes
farmland.
me
That's
nervous.
another thing
Yes.
I disagree with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Not only the farmland, but I mean, you go to many other countries,
we can't do that.
we can't buy land. You can rent land,
Right.
but you cannot buy land.
Right,
We
right.
should not be selling American soil to foreigners.
One piece at a time.
Well,
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, I don't like that.
unless they become, United States citizens, and we do a very thorough background check, and but make sure there are no ties to terrorism. But
You think Trump's going to step in and do something with China? I mean, we got the tariffs going, all that other
China.
stuff now, but the China virus and all this stuff, but there's a lot of stuff going on.
There's
I
too
think
much
he needs to
going
put a
on.
boot up someone's ass.
Well, I think that's what the tariffs are, to transition
Yes.
into tariffs. I think they're a leverage, they're a bargaining tool, and he is the art of the deal. He wrote the book.
But how can we let's say make a deal when we are we don't produce anything. China produces in other countries.
We produce dollars.
Yeah, but we buy items, and so
Yeah.
if there's someone that's producing a product and they say, hey, we're going to go up on the price. Yeah, well, what are we going to do? We'll make our own. When's the last time something was made in the United States? That's the problem.
I think it's a good catalyst to bring some back.
Exactly.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's my point.
And I also think that it should be mandatory that all pharmaceuticals
Yep.
are made in
Right.
the U.S.
That's right.
by U.S.
Which
companies.
I think we're going to that.
And
Yeah,
affordable.
I think it has to be.
Yeah, I
It's
think
got
it's
to be
going
that
to.
way because during COVID, we were
Right.
depending on China that created the COVID virus to send us medications. No.
Yeah.
And if we were to blow it up, so to speak,
Well,
they just cut it off.
Right. That's true.
you've heard this saying maybe when goods cross borders, soldiers won't, and vice versa. When goods don't cross borders, then soldiers will. So maybe it's being interconnected. It's good for world peace in a way. But then the opposite is, what if there is a war, then that's leverage.
Well, if they want to make cell phones, I'm good with that. But pharmaceuticals,
Right. Not
Right.
I think, should be
pharmaceuticals,
made here.
Yeah.
And weapons.
Definitely.
And
not
weapons.
Yeah,
We shouldn't
that's-
be
yeah, we should
buying
make
weapons
Right.
from somebody that we might use them against,
You know what?
in theory.
Scared me many years
Makes
ago,
sense.
and I still think about it, is since China and China-controlled territories make most of the computer chips, and
Taiwan.
and most Taiwan, and most of the computer
defense
chips
systems.
have back doors to them,
Oh, boy.
and we're using those chips in our jets and our missiles and,
That's
and
right.
everything.
That's right.
Do they have access? Now they've proven that they can shut down electric grids.
Of
Yeah.
course. Of course.
So what else can they shut down?
Right. Good point.
Makes me
Very good
nervous.
point. Yeah.
And is Trump factoring in all of these things? When he goes after China, maybe that's a good reason why. Like when you get elected president, you get a little knock on the door. Excuse me, sir. Let's tell you all of the secrets that you might need to know before you act on
I'm
all
sure
of those
he's
campaign
getting briefed about
promises.
stuff like this. I mean, and has been briefed about all of this.
Yeah. It was a difficult position anyway. So.
But you have to be careful how hard you rattle the saber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
Very
You
true.
can rattle it a lot harder when we make our own pharmaceuticals and
Exactly.
weapons and things like that. But
Exactly.
but is that necessarily a good thing? Do we want to be picking fights?
I don't think we should be picking fights. No, but we do need to protect ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pharmaceut-
In case they pick a fight.
And I mean,
Yeah.
transition over for a second to the whole Ukraine-Russia thing.
That's just a nightmare.
That's
the
another
whole
thing that unofficially, way back when in the Minsk agreements and after World War II and stuff, we agreed that there'd be not on paper, but politically we agreed that Ukraine and other Russia bordering countries would not be members of NATO.
NATO.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Then
Ukraine
then
is-
this last administration, vice president, and I won't name her name, comes in and begins the talks of NATO and Ukraine,
Right.
and just flames the
You
fire.
can't do
That was
right,
a bright red line in
'Cause
the
of course they wanna
sand,
be
and everybody should have known it.
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's
it
right.
was there, and we crossed it.
Yep.
Yeah.
We crossed it by inviting them, and
So, like you're saying, maybe indirectly, you can, if we can't, let's say we won't attack Russia directly, but we can do it indirectly through the Ukraine.
Proxy war.
yeah,
Right,
proxy
do a
wars,
proxy
and that's
war,
what it
right.
is. But
Right.
but I don't think there's at this point in time, my personal opinion, I don't think there's a need for a
There's
proxy
none.
war with
No,
Russia.
there's none at all. None at
No,
all.
I mean,
Yeah.
if
Especially
Russia
with
if Russia was the big powerful military that they used to be,
right.
Ukraine wouldn't exist right now.
That's true. That's true because
And-
just numbers alone, and then
Yeah.
the
But-
technological superiority, that would be the end of it.
Right, but it's
Well,
not happening.
Right.
We've
that's
been warned many times, going all the way back to George Washington, entangling alliances with none, friendship with all, entangling alliances.
Right.
And what is NATO? What is the UN? What is all of this but entangling alliances?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's more leading to war than to peace.
And
Yep.
you know, the
At
old
some
thought
point.
of peace through superior firepower, they all have superior firepower.
Right.
So where's the peace part? You know, we're in a different world now.
Okay, and I'll play devil's advocate. All right, so
Oh, of course we are going to.
Well,
Yeah.
do it anyway.
Well, that's
Come
the
on,
point.
man.
That's
the point.
you know, it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, what do you think? What we would have an interest in Russia, though? Let's say whatever might be produced in Russia. I mean, do you think that maybe President Trump has an interest in Russia?
I don't remember the last time I consumed something that was marked made in Russia.
Either have I.
Did you go to a gas station?
Oh, well, there's that.
Yeah.
But
I
mean,
rent a bay to a Russian.
You know that doesn't count, but hey, he doesn't claim to be Russian.
Oh, so we're gonna, yeah, exactly.
and oil is fungible. Like
I thought he
it's
was
all kind
a
of
true
pooled.
American now.
Yeah, he's hiding out, so he's good.
He's not hiding.
Okay, well, but no, like I said, when it comes to
That's all you need. The FBI knocking on your door again.
Yeah.
Nope,
Again?
I'm out.
He's
Yeah,
knows.
yeah.
But no, like I think in his first term, Rex Tillerson, he was the
Well,
former CEO of Neftegas, which is a company that drills for oil in Russia.
Oh,
Never heard of that.
no, either me either.
Heard of
I
Rex
mean,
Tillerson. but-
Rex Tillerson, yeah, he was cool and everything like that. But you know, he of course got rid of him. But to have him on the administration, do you think there would have been a conflict? Because you know, there are a lot of minerals that are in that area in Ukraine, and that we definitely want and need. And of course, that's how we need to pay back. That's how they need to pay us
Isn't
back.
that funny how we're going to end up with Ukrainian minerals somehow at the end of this?
Well, we have to, because I mean, you know,
Well,
we
we-
need
yeah,
payback.
we-
You
And
know,
like
we need
you
money
said,
back, right?
Trump has to be the bad guy before the midterms, and we get that time where we have to.
We need
So let him be the bad guy for
Well-
just a few more months, and then hopefully
And then
this will work
recover.
out. Yeah, and then recover.
But there is
to the
one
races.
interesting thing. When Trump ran, he was 100% anti giving weapons and money to Ukraine,
That's true.
which we're now giving. That's sidestepped a little bit, and is it to protect the minerals that we now have
an interest in.
an
Yeah.
interest in? I mean, you got to
Well,
question it.
you
right?
got to question it for sure.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know.
But then, you know, then now you're going on this side. I can take the other side now. You know, maybe he doesn't have an interest in. Okay, I'm kidding.
Well, he does have an interest because he
I
said
know,
he does.
I
He
know.
wants his
know.
minerals. He didn't want anything else but the minerals.
Wow.
Well, we'll have to see. But and then we're talking about tariffs a little bit last week. Will chimed in with some devil's advocate because he's so good at it.
I
So
know. I just have to do it.
you
I
know,
mean,
like I said, like short term, I mean, people are freaking out, and like, who wants to pay extra for stuff if they're not getting in U.S.? But the whole big goal, I think, of this is that Trump wants to bring everything back to America, put more money, more jobs, and as a whole,
I don't think that's exactly what he's doing.
you don't
with
think
it.
so?
at
No.
all.
I think.
Oh, really?
I
you go.
think in the art of the deal.
I mean, that's what he said. His whole campaign of us. You
I
know?
know, but I
That's
think
how you campaign, though.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I
Oh
think
yes, of course.
I think
Listen, from what he said, this is what's going to happen. No, I'm just
I can make
yeah,
whatever.
but
Promises.
I think the reality behind it, I believe, is all these other countries have been charging us tariffs,
Yes.
and we
Yeah.
weren't
Yes.
charging.
Yes.
That's right.
So I
too.
think the
That's
whole
right.
thing really, in a free trade
Mhm.
idea, is to balance the playing field. Now, if we were being charged by some country, let's say 20% on a tariff to import into their country, and we're not charging anything, to just raise us to 20%, you know, it doesn't change much. But to raise us to 150%,
That's insane.
that all of a sudden, you know,
He's making a
things-
statement
He's
there.
making a
Well, the
statement.
other
Exactly.
thing is too is I mean he wanted to bring Doge in so we can cut costs there,
Yeah.
but also the tariffs are picking up some of the extra, like we're getting some more money extra for it. So he's just trying to balance out the economy too in certain things.
But let's say if you have a product that I want, and
Don't
I'm
buy it
gonna
foreign.
I want to buy. Well, where else are we going to buy it?
We're gonna have to make it in America. We're gonna have to
Well,
bring it back if that's what
okay, but
he's
then
gonna
how
have
But
much
to
is
there's
do.
it
a
gonna
tool-up
cost?
time to do that too, and we,
Yeah.
you know, the reason the automobile
Tool-up time to-
companies are over in the other countries is because
Free enterprise.
sorry about this, but unions.
Cheap labor.
Yeah, unions. You
Kathy
know,
Lee's
back when they were
sweatshop.
charging $25 an hour to put a light bulb in a dashboard,
Yeah.
you know, they could make it and do it cheaper and ship it back across the ocean to here cheaper than making it here.
I want to be able to go on vacation.
So
all of
how-
that stuff?
So I want to ask you guys this: how long do you think this tariff war is going to go on before people start caving in?
Well,
They already are.
yeah.
Oh no, like where
Unfortunately-
you start seeing a lot of turnaround and change and stuff, like, and
It's
everyone's not
already-
flipping out about it so much. Americans.
Well,
Well,
stock market has somewhat stabilized. I
Right,
mean,
right.
things are stabilizing and change is made. They're coming to the table to talk with us now.
Right.
But they're just talking.
Yeah, well,
true.
like actual action.
But they weren't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
talking before.
And
They were-
China does not abide by its agreements.
No, of
No,
course
they still
not.
want to.
No.
I mean,
yeah, 'cause-
you ain't abided by shit when you kind of come over here with a friggin' virus again or fungus. I mean, no, I'm just going on tangent, but
Yeah, it's
we digress.
It's nerve-wracking to hear things that you hear about China,
Yeah.
like the
Right.
fungus and like, not
And we're
abiding by
supposed to
agreements.
believe their deals and stuff.
And we're
Yeah, well.
so intertwined with their
Yeah.
economy. Like they make all of our cheap crap.
everything.
Yep.
Yes.
And they're
they
one
make,
of-
they make Walmart.
There
They
are
make Amazon go around.
There
Even
are
expensive stuff too. Yeah.
They're the second biggest buyer of our debt
Yep.
after Japan now. Japan overtook them, but for a long time,
Yep.
they would buy all of our bonds. When the United States needs to take out debt and that debt ceiling goes up, they
That's right.
create bonds, and who buys them but China and Japan and a few other countries, but mostly it's
Yeah.
been China. And so they're our banker.
That's right.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
But
We're like in bed with the devil.
What,
literally.
what
We're
happens
literally.
when we get to the point where the debt is so high that it's worthless to buy it, which we're
inflation.
much
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Yeah.
We're
yeah.
getting more to that point. We're
Yeah.
at an inflection point where the system has become unsustainable. It's looked unsustainable for a long time,
Yes,
and now
but
it's coming to a head.
Right.
And I think the globe, like BRICS and their currency that they're trying to come up with, gold and silver remonetizing here in Florida,
Yeah, Florida just did it.
they just made gold and silver legal tender, which, by the way, that's what the Constitution says should only be
It only
legal
be
tender,
right.
not pieces of
Bitcoin?
paper.
Bitcoin, yeah.
I'm
Bitcoin.
just throwing it out
But I
there.
mean,
was kidding.
yeah, something's got to give. So, like, we've had the system since 1971 when Nixon closed the gold window, and everything went completely fiat. We lost our backing on gold completely, and then the dollar was backed by military might in the Middle East, and that's suddenly not working anymore. It's been fragile for a long time, but now it's like, what's next? Something's got to come in
Yeah.
No,
and
no,
replace it.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, well, one of the arguments back then was that there's not enough gold and silver to back the amount of
money.
the money.
All right.
Right. Well,
But
Steve Forbes had when I spoke with him at Freedom Fest a few years back, just, elegantly simple solution to that is you just divide, simple division, the amount of debt by the amount of available gold and silver. And
Yeah.
that's the price of
Yeah.
gold, which that would put gold probably like 20,000 an ounce or something crazy.
I need
But
to get
that's
a
what it
bigger
is.
wedding ring.
I was going to say, you need to make it a thicker band.
Yeah. Greenspan had the idea.
Yeah, but I mean, what if...
No, that's basically what it would be.
Yeah, what if we did that?
Yeah.
And like if you have a little bit of gold and silver back at home and they do that,
Good on you.
You are driving a Lamborghini.
That's right.
True. That's
That's
true.
right.
You
Five
are
Lamborghinis.
sitting
that-
pretty.
But that was their excuse back then for bailing out of it.
Well,
But the reality was, World Bank.
Yeah.
yeah,
True.
it's all built on debt.
Yeah.
We're all debt
debt.
slaves.
Yes.
Yes.
That's why the dollar bill is a note and not a dollar bill.
Well, what do you think about when it comes to private entities, or let's say an individual that maybe loans a little bit of money to the United States?
Well, they do.
Well, I'm talking about maybe Elon.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
I'm just wondering.
Oh,
you know,
it's
in
much
the,
bigger than Elon.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but now look how much money was actually kind of put into the government from him. So because
He
and
paid
on
it
the
all
other hand,
back, actually.
but on the other hand, if that's the only vehicle that's made in the United States, which is Tesla, which a great car, but
Oh no,
but
that's
where
not
do the
true,
minerals
though.
come from?
I mean,
You're right.
they make
that's the problem. And
Toyotas.
lithium and
They make Toyotas and things in the United States. It's a Japanese-owned company, but
Right.
there
Right,
are
but-
factories.
well, yeah, I know, but the thing is, where are the parts coming from?
Well, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
have the
Even
steel
Ford.
mills, really.
Mhm.
And the
You know.
computer
What
chips
is
and
that iPencil?
The
Ish
computer chips that
situation.
you don't want from the other countries that might not like us is what you're
Right.
saying? Yeah.
Well, of course,
Yeah.
none of them like us, but
Yeah.
but they have to deal with us, and that's whatever happens. But I don't
Do you
know.
like
It's-
Elon? I love him. I think he's done some great things, even though people give him so much crap.
I love him too, but I have a friend that absolutely hates him.
I don't
hate
get
anyone,
what.
so-
So what do they hate about?
I don't
him?
hate
It's-
anyone, so I don't
It's
know.
the transhumanism thing. It's like the biohacking. It's the Neuralink.
He's so smart.
No, it's the Neuralink stuff. They're not.
Oh.
They don't trust like the brain chips that he's working on.
What
I
the
don't
hell?
trust
That
anything, so I don't
kind of
know.
thing.
No, but
Just,
that's so amazing that he's trying this stuff, and like even like Grok, the app, and going up and picking up astronauts that were left up there for how long, and
That's
like
cool.
he does all of these things that are just
But-
No, I agree with
come
you.
on.
creative, smart, inventive, whatever you want to say it, saving us money.
Well,
I mean, the guy does not need to put up with any of this crap. and he has.
now,
Here we go.
he does make wild
Debbie
claims.
Downer's in the room again.
But he does make wild claims. How can you go from New York to London in an hour?
He'll figure it out.
A tunnel underneath
If there's
the
anyone
ocean.
who can figure
A
it
tunnel
out, it's
underneath the
him.
ocean.
Right, Alan? If anyone
No,
can
think
figure it
about
out,
the
it's
tunnel under the
Elon.
ocean.
Well,
we haven't even touched the
Well,
bottom
I mean,
of the
we
ocean.
all.
How fast did the Concorde go? That's old technology.
That's still
Yeah.
not the fastest going from like New York to.
I
That's
believe
maybe
in
a
him,
couple
Will. Just
hours.
believe in him because then when he comes out with it, we get to jump on that.
I didn't
see,
say
here's
I didn't
the-
say I didn't like him. I was just
Here-
wondering what was.
Here's the thing: Elon can create all these wonderful things like AI and ChatGPT with
Yeah.
Sam Altman co-created that, and then it falls into the wrong hands,
Right.
Yeah.
and they betray his initial intentions.
Just like when he sold Tesla and then bought it back. I mean, I'm sure he's regretting the whole thing, but
So
Yeah.
Neuralink, Elon
PayPal.
has let's just assume wonderful intentions, helping paraplegics,
Yeah.
and things like that. But then it falls into the wrong hands, and then what?
How do you
Like,
know someone
what's-
has
Well,
good intentions? Though?
yeah, hopefully no one's
Yeah.
falling
How
into
do
the
you know
wrong
he
hands
has
with
good
that.
intentions?
He does.
I trust.
He wouldn't be
that
doing,
he
he wouldn't be doing all this
Outright
stuff for the government or and us for free. Basically, he's not getting paid. You know how much crap he got for that? For helping us out
He
with
gets
the
crap for
Doge?
trying to repopulate the earth. I mean,
He gets,
He
everybody-
got crap because the
Every-
media
You know,
put
I
it
was
that
doing
way.
he
his
gets crap
part.
from
I've come
everyone.
to the
He's-
conclusion, no matter
everyone's
who you
gonna
are,
hate the
you're
guy
always going to
'cause
have that group of haters.
He's
We
successful.
can
He's
attest to that.
successful. No, he's successful. No, just because I don't agree with you all the way, just saying, oh,
No,
yeah,
I
he's
know,
the great
I
things
know.
like sliced bread. I didn't say that. I didn't like him.
I mean, the
said
coolest thing was when those astronauts came back in the
good to-
space capsule, and the boat's there to get them. The dolphins are coming in.
Oh
and
my
it's like, that was
gosh.
just-
No, the man is a
It
very.
was so magical. It was like such an epic, like it was
optics
just
were
the optics
incredible.
were crazy. You couldn't even plan it that good.
and that's
I mean,
wonderful. Like I said, some of the things he does, but
Robotic dolphins.
Like, robotic.
I know, right?
No, I
Trump
don't
set
want
that
one.
all up,
I
right?
don't want one
Oh,
of
I
those.
hate
He called
that
it
you said
Marine
that.
Land and
But let's say if you're a billionaire and you donate to charity, you think if I was a billionaire and I donate to charity, you say, "Oh man, I'm such a great
Not
person."
necessarily.
But
not
why
necessarily.
Bill Gates.
Why
Yeah,
not? But I mean, if I want to donate to charity and
Bill Gates.
sure, I know, but we're not going to go. But
George Soros.
but let's
Yeah.
say.
I'm gonna stay silent throughout
But if
this.
I do that, am I automatically assuming?
I know
there'll be,
people that work
you
for
know,
him,
someone-
so I'm
or
gonna stay silent.
Oh.
Am I looking for a tax break? Am I? Because you do get a massive tax break. You can't just go like, oh, every year you're a billionaire and just spend, and
Yeah.
Oh well, NGOs. We just saw Elon expose the NGOs and all of that mess.
yeah.
I can't wait to figure out what they're gonna do with the auto pen now either. We brought that up on the last show. It's getting unraveled, girl. It's getting
Oh, yeah.
unraveled. We're getting closer to finding out something, Alan.
Oh, yeah, they're
I'm
talking
getting
Oh, it
about.
is,
excited
I
internally.
agree with that, yeah.
They're having some good conversations on Fox News about that
Oh, yeah.
auto pen. I like what they're saying. Like you can't just seize the presidential power and expect it to stand.
Right,
You know, like
right.
That's true.
legally, like that's. I mean, and the how they treat wills, like in court, you have to prove all that stuff.
That's
that was
true.
your intention. This is the presidential power of the United States.
Yeah.
They're not going to
Right,
have
that's right.
the same scrutiny.
Right.
You know?
No, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens the next
But is
few
there-
weeks and what's unleashed on that.
But do you think there's a
I'm
lack
ready
of
to
balance
start
of
seeing
power?
people go to jail. What do you think? I'm or being held accountable for all this crap.
I mean, it's treason, isn't it?
Well, he likes
Yes.
that word, so we're gonna let
Yes.
him decide.
Well, wait a minute. If you commit a crime against your country, it is treason, and that you can be executed.
You think
for
that some people are gonna come down?
No,
You don't think anybody's gonna?
no, and that's more of a financial crime you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. that's
Well,
not
actually,
happening.
no. Auto pen was a whole bunch of different things.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah. I mean, there's a plethora of things that could have happened.
Yeah.
That can happen with that still.
that's true. That's
Can you say that word again?
Plethora.
Thanks. That means a lot.
Yeah, I like that. That was cool. That's but,
Well, I loved having you guys on the show
That's
today.
awesome.
So glad, Rachel, you came back. We didn't actually give Will as hard of a time as I thought you were going to.
Part two.
Part 2 is going to come because he just liked. We love having him in the studio to be the
Love
devil's
fest.
advocate. I know, right? Love fest. Free love. Well, have a good day, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.